Trump's top 10 controversial statements. What's the truth? Welcome back to Red Hat News. Today we will dissect each of Donald Trump's top 10 controversial statements, diving into the context and truth behind these remarks that have often been sensationalized by the media. These statements significantly influenced public opinion and policy, sparking debates and discussions across the nation. By providing a more detailed analysis, we aim to offer a clearer understanding of the former president's intentions and the implications of his words. They're bringing in crime, they're bringing drugs, they're rapists. This comment was made by Donald Trump during his presidential campaign announcement on June 16, 2015, and was directed at illegal immigrants coming from Mexico. Critics quickly branded this remark as racist and xenophobic. However, Trump clarified that his focus was on the criminal elements that illegally cross the border and not the general immigrant population. He emphasized the importance of protecting American citizens by securing the border. The backlash to this statement was immediate, but it also brought national attention to issues of border security and immigration policy. Trump's stance led to a broader discussion on the need for comprehensive immigration reform and the enforcement of existing laws. His administration subsequently took significant steps to enhance border security, including the construction of new barriers and the strengthening of border patrol operations. Complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. In the aftermath of the San Bernardino terrorist attack, Trump called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States during a campaign speech on December 7, 2015. This proposal was part of his broader strategy to combat terrorism, citing the inability to properly vet individuals from regions with a history of terrorism. While the statement was met with international outrage and criticized as discriminatory, it underscored Trump's prioritization of national security. The original proposal evolved into a more refined policy, often referred to as the travel ban, which restricted travel from several countries deemed high risk. The U.S. Supreme Court ultimately upheld a revised version of the ban in 2018, affirming the president's authority in matters of national security. Trump argued that these measures were necessary to protect the country until the government could implement more effective vetting procedures. Very fine people on both sides. This statement was made by Trump during a press conference on August 15, 2017. Following the violent events in Charlottesville, Virginia, the media and public figures widely criticized him for allegedly equating white supremacists with those protesting against them. However, Trump clarified in subsequent remarks that he condemned the neo-Nazis and white supremacists involved in the violence. He noted that not all attendees were extremists, and some were there to protest peacefully against the removal of a Confederate statue. The controversy highlighted the polarized reaction to Trump's words and the broader national debate over historical monuments and racial tensions. It also prompted discussions on media representation and the importance of reviewing the full context of statements before forming judgments. 4. Why are we having all these people from shithole countries come here? Reportedly said during an Oval Office meeting about immigration reform in January 2018, Trump's question about shithole countries referred to immigrants coming from certain African nations, Haiti and El Salvador. The remark was leaked and quickly condemned globally as insensitive and racist. Trump's comment was intended to question the logic behind the current immigration system, which he believed should focus more on merit-based criteria rather than country of origin. His use of vulgar language overshadowed the underlying message about prioritizing immigrants who can contribute economically and assimilate into American society. This statement spurred heated debates on the values guiding U.S. immigration policy and the balance between humanitarian aid and economic interests. 5. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. During a press conference on July 27, 2016, Trump made this remark concerning Hillary Clinton's missing emails, stirring controversy over the perceived solicitation of foreign interference in an American election. Critics argued that his comment was inappropriate and potentially illegal, while Trump later described it as sarcastic, intended to highlight the perceived negligence in the investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server. This statement became a focal point in the broader allegations of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, which were thoroughly investigated by special counsel Robert Mueller. The Mueller report ultimately found no conclusive evidence of collusion, reinforcing Trump's assertions that the allegations were baseless and politically motivated. 6. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. This tweet, made during the unrest following George Floyd's death in May 2020, was intended as a warning about the escalation of violence during protests. Twitter flagged the tweet for glorifying violence which brought significant media attention and public scrutiny. Trump explained that his words were meant to deter violence, not incite it. The phrase itself has historical significance, echoing the words of a Miami police chief in the 1960s. This incident highlighted the challenges and responsibilities of communication on social media, especially for public figures. It sparked a broader discussion on the role of social media platforms in moderating content and the balance between free speech and public safety. 7. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters. Trump made this hyperbolic statement at a campaign rally in Iowa on January 23, 2016, to underscore the loyalty of his supporters. While it was criticized for its brashness, the comment was intended to convey his confidence in the unwavering support of his voter base, despite relentless media criticism and political opposition. This remark has been frequently cited as an example of Trump's unorthodox rhetorical style, which appeals to his supporters for its directness and authenticity, but often draws condemnation from critics for its perceived recklessness. Windmills are the greatest threat in the U.S. to both bald and golden eagles. Trump has repeatedly criticized wind turbines for their environmental impact, particularly their threat to bird populations, including bald and golden eagles. While his statements are often hyperbolic, they are rooted in documented concerns about the wildlife impacts of wind energy. These comments reflect Trump's broader skepticism of renewable energy sources, which he argues are not yet sufficient to replace fossil fuels and often come with their own set of environmental and economic costs. The debate over wind energy's impacts highlights the complexities of balancing renewable energy development with wildlife conservation. 9. COVID-19 is just like the flu. In the early stages of the coronavirus pandemic, Trump compared COVID-19 to the flu. This comparison was part of his initial public messaging to prevent panic and maintain public order, although he later acknowledged the severity of the virus as more information became available. This approach was controversial, with critics arguing that it downplayed the seriousness of the pandemic. However, supporters contend that it was a rational attempt to prevent hysteria, given the uncertainty surrounding the virus at the time. 10. The election was stolen. Following the 2020 presidential election, Trump persistently claimed that the election was stolen due to widespread voter fraud. These allegations were a significant factor leading to the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. While courts did not uphold claims of significant electoral fraud, the allegations fueled widespread debate about the integrity of the American electoral system and led to various legislative efforts at the state level to enhance the security and transparency of elections. Trump claimed widespread voter fraud, a statement that fueled heated debates on election integrity. Despite the lack of evidence strong enough to overturn the election results, this claim mobilized a significant portion of the electorate, leading to various legislative changes at the state level aimed at strengthening the security and transparency of the electoral process. Donald Trump's most controversial statements reflect his direct, often unfiltered communication style, resonating with his supporters for its authenticity and straightforwardness, while provoking criticism from his detractors. These 10 statements, central to many pivotal moments of his presidency, offer a window into the complex interplay of media portrayal, public perception, and political reality. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Hat News for more insightful content where the truth speaks loud. Red Hat News, where the truth speaks loud.